What's up, guys? Good morning, everybody, except for people on the East Coast. Good afternoon to y'all. I'm going to give everybody a chance to pile in here. So, what we're going to talk about tonight? No, not tonight. This morning. Sorry, I got off last night's stream and my head's still spinning. We are going to talk about a story from Empire of the Summer Moon again. This one's a rough one. So, again, might take a little bit of innuendo and creative language on my part, but that's never a problem. So, let everybody pile in here for a second. I didn't get a chance to put a promo up for this, so hopefully everybody knows that we're going live. I'm going to take a couple minutes and let everybody get the notification and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting, a little bit of a disconcerting story. So sorry to bring it to you in the morning, but I thought it'd make for a good, relatively short live stream. So last night's stream was a good one too. If you didn't catch it, we covered the Parker's Fort massacre and the subsequent unfolding of Cynthia Ann Parker's life and Rachel Parker Plummer's life and Rachel Kellogg's life. And it was a rough one. Terry R., good morning, good morning, good morning. So, guys, I forgot to put a promo post up. And at the very last minute, I didn't forget. But I thought, if I put a promo post up, it might draw people away from the promo post for tonight's episode. So that's the behind the scenes on that. So I'll give everybody a little bit more time than usual to pile in here. But yeah, if y'all didn't get the notification too, let me know, because I put the stream up. Everyone should have got a notification. So if you didn't, let me know. Jake Skywalker, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Terry R., as always, good to have you. So if you've ever read Empire of the Summer Moon, I'm just going to kind of, go. You got a notification, says Jake Skywalker. Good, good. Because we're doing a lot of stuff. Sometimes I don't want to confuse people with too many notifications, such as the YouTube game. But we're going to be talking about the raid on Sherman's farm, which is just a kind of a two-page, actually it's a one-page story in Empire of the Summer Moon. But I always thought it was worthy of really expounding upon a little bit. And it was one of the first stories that I read that really spelled out Comanche warfare for me. So yeah, I thought it'd be good to dive into in a couple more minutes, and we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. Doc Will, good morning. Just got to lunch. Oh, you just got lunch. Right on, man. Good to see you. We're waiting on the rest of the crew to jump in here. We were just talking about notifications, so hopefully everybody knows we're going live. Yeah, we got more and more people piling in here. Also, remember, we have an episode coming out tonight. I think most of you guys are members, so you already got access to it. But a really cool episode, top 10 most brutal battles of the Old West, coming out tonight. And they're not all like well-known battles. Hopefully we'll catch a little bit of flack in the comments for that and boost the algorithm. And then we got a Ranger episode coming, a couple more episodes coming. Hopefully we'll get one in on Sunday, and we're working on it right now. So short stories by Kate. Howdy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks again for everybody that came out last night. That was a great live chat. I thought that was a fun time had by all. Mike Holtz, what's up? Shout out on the Comanche topic. Yeah, man. Thank you. Good to see you. Shout out Detroit. Yeah, tonight's is going to be, or tonight's. I keep saying tonight because I basically woke up and right back to the stream. So tonight's topic is going to be one that I think it's a terrifying one. I'm going to, like I said, try to keep it PG-13 so we don't get in trouble, but I think you'll like it. You won both matches last night at the team duels. Right on, man. All right. We're kicking now. We're in the season. Mike Holtz is a wrestling fan as well, a wrestler himself. Love your content, says Oakley. Congrats, Mike Holtz. That's awesome. Just want to say that, by the way. Oakley, love your content from Indianapolis. What's up, Oakley? Good to have you. I think you're the first Indianapolis viewer that we've got. Be right back. Got to go walk my pup, says Doc Will. No problem, man. No problem. Got to make sure that the dog gets out. Texas Tough, 1836. That's a great name. I like that. Welcome in. All right, I'm surprised we got enough people to get going already. Good. So, one more chat here. We have a a Hall rifle hanging over the fireplace that belonged to my ancestor George Hay, who was in the Frontier Battalion in Texas from Scotland. Wow. Yeah, I see. I hear so many people's family lineage on here, and I don't really know a lot about my family lineage, so I'm jealous of you guys. That's cool. Yeah, especially in Texas, everybody seems to have a solid sense of identity with where they're coming from. Okay, so we're gonna jump into it. Actually, if you have the Blue Kachina says hello. Smoke Screen says hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad everybody knows we're going live now. Cool. Okay, so if you have the book, actually, it's on page 156 in the War to the Knife chapter. So I'll just kind of sum it up relatively quickly. So what happens is, and I gotta check the exact year here, 1860. So the Civil War is just starting. There's not a lot of federal resources being pushed out Texas's way. So it is the frontier of the frontier, right? And then this guy who S.C. Gwynn describes as a greenhorn. If there was ever a greenhorn, it sounds like it was Ezra Sherman. So Ezra Sherman moves his family out into the very, very edge of, in fact, Parker County. So in 1860, things are obviously significantly more developed. We're a quarter century on from the Parker raid, but it's the middle of nowhere. They live in this they build a cabin and a small farm in a little place called Stagg Prairie, which is on the southwestern edge, I believe, of Parker County. But Ezra has never spent time on the frontier. I don't think he's a terribly experienced farmer. He also has no firearms of any kind. So he's just out there with nothing to protect him or his family, and they're just trying to make a go of it. So they live in this small cabin that's not exactly like the picture in the thumbnail, but it's a lot like that picture. It's likely a dog run cabin, though, where it's called a dog run because they have a space in between these two buildings where the dogs can run in between, and it's like an open breezeway. So likely that style of cabin, and then a couple acres of just crops around the house. A subsistence farmer, not a commercial farmer. He has, I think it's three young children, and his wife Martha is several months pregnant, which we're seeing that unfortunate theme again and again with these attacks. But they're eating dinner one day in the fall of 1860, and all of a sudden, this is a phenomenon we hear described again and again, where the Comanche aren't there, and then there's a bunch of them, and they're horseback too. So it seems like a lot of times they move relatively silently, even on horseback, because again and again we just hear the accounts where, like, I looked out at the field and there was nothing there, and then I looked out again a second later and it was full of warriors. So that's what happens here. They're quickly at the Sherman cabin door, and the whole family's around the table, and the party of warriors, it's not terribly big, a dozen or so, 4 or 5 of them come inside while the Shermans are eating dinner. And the creepiest part to me is that everybody is relatively cool to begin. They're feigning this kind of peace. The Comanches come in, they say, "We want dinner, we're hungry." So the Shermans start giving them food, and they kind of disdainfully eat a couple bites and then throw it away. And then they say, "Let us sit at the table. We want to sit at the table." So the three kids are very young. Like, they're all under the age of 10. They have no idea what's going on, but they know who the Comanche are. So they know something bad is likely going to happen. Obviously, Martha Sherman growing more and more concerned because she knows they don't have any way to protect themselves. And Ezra Sherman likely growing very concerned because he's in charge of protecting this family and his wife and obviously his pregnant wife, and he has no means with which to do so. Granted, I don't know that it would make a huge difference because they're so wildly outmatched, but I'm sure his decisions he's questioning his decisions in his head at this point. The Comanche tell them now to vamoose, vamoose. Spanish is kind of the lingua franca, which is an odd thing to say, but yes, Spanish is the lingua franca of especially the Texas frontier. It's what the Comancheros would have spoken. The Spanish, or the Comanches themselves, were usually relatively fluent in it because of their penchant for trade. So they weren't monoglots, I believe the term is. They were maybe not polyglots, but usually bi or trilingual. We got some contention in the chat again. Mix it up, guys. I like it. I like it. So the Comanche would usually speak in Spanish if they're talking to somebody that doesn't speak Comanche. So they say "vamos," get out of here. It's raining outside at this point. It's dusk. So now they realize we got to go. So it's 2 adults, 3 children running through a freshly plowed field. And it's getting, if you've ever been up in that area, the mud gets very sticky and it sticks to your boots. So your feet are getting heavier and heavier with every step. There's another neighbor about 2 miles away. They're in the middle of nowhere. It's this, far away from any formal settlement, but there's a couple scattered neighbors in the area, but still 2 miles away is quite a way. Especially to bring 3 children under 10 to haul them out there and a pregnant wife. It's going to obviously be a difficult thing to do. As they're running, they get a couple hundred yards away from the cabin, and the Comanche have remounted, and they're kind of coming around the field and cutting them off away from the next cabin. Ezra and his 3 kids are actually able to get away, and his wife is saying, just go. You got to go. You got to save these other 3 kids. But his wife is not able to get away. The Comanche pounce on her. It's obviously a terrible scene of intimidation because she's unarmed. So they're going to take their time scaring her, dragging this whole thing out. So they posture at her. They, feign attacks with their weapons. At this time, plenty of firearms in the Comanche, but still largely bows, arrows, and spears in this attack, it seems like. So the Comanche then surround her. After this show of intimidation, they eventually start attacking her with spears and arrows. She's eventually brought down, but still alive. The Comanche then proceed to get down from their horses and can we say this? We've figured out different analogies for this in the show, but de-scalp her while she's fully conscious, and then injure her several more times, attack her more times with spears and arrows. However, they purposefully leave her alive and then just ride off. They've taken all the Sherman's valuables and food, and they just ride off into the rain up to the west again, the northwest, west. We talked about that, I think, over the several last streams. That's the modus operandi for the Comanche. You hit a raid, you raid an area, and then you bolt for the northwest, for the plains, for the prairie, because you are not going to be found once you get out there. Space Cowboy, what's up? Let's check the chat real quick before we continue this horrific story. Let's see. Blue China, Oakley. Billy Bobry. Finally, I keep missing the lives. Just gone here, 5 p.m. UK. Really enjoy your content. Thank you, Billy Bobry. I didn't have time to put up a promo post for this one, but I know we try to give a GMT option when I do. So it is, 5 there. Is that right? Yeah, okay, it is 5 there. Space Cowboy, what's up? Kathy Brusaw, good to see you. We got some new faces in the chat here. Great, that's right on. Hopefully we'll start your day off with a terrifying history story so that the rest of the day seems not so bad. Or even better. The rest of the day seems even better, we'll say. Evan says, underrated channel. Thank you very much. Hopefully not underrated for long. Okay, so we'll go back to this wonderful little story here. So Martha Sherman is left in the field. Excuse me. Early in the morning here. Well, relatively early for Austin. Excuse me. All right, takes a little doing. Martha Sherman is left purposefully alive. She's just lying there for a number of hours, manages to crawl a couple hundred yards back to the cabin and kind of passes out there. At morning, and Ezra's going through hell, unquestionably, right? He's got his 3 kids to the neighbor's cabin. They're being sheltered, but he knows his wife is out there, and he knows what the Comanche are likely doing. Also, she is assaulted several times. I think we can all surmise what I mean by that. But the neighbor men are gathered. Ezra leads them back to the cabin, they find Martha Sherman, mind you, pregnant and still somehow alive, not literally passed out, but incoherent inside the door of the cabin. So she is put in a bed. They try to clean her up. She's all obviously scalpless as well at this point. So the horrifying scene that these people saw, and specifically Ezra Sherman saw, is beyond description. I think it's safe to say. Um, I'm having a hard time getting this story across through the censorship anyway. So it's just that bad. It takes her 3 or 4 days to pass away. The child is um, born not alive. She eventually does pass away from peritonitis, though. The Comanche would drill their arrows into the stomach because they didn't understand the mechanics of it, but they knew by shooting someone in the stomach, it would cause this prolonged infectious death, unaliving. They didn't understand bacteria and all that stuff, but they knew that did something particularly horrific. They also preferred metal arrowheads, especially for raiding, as opposed to the traditional stone. You guys know what an arrowhead is. What am I doing? But the metal was softer than the stone, so it would bend and hook and be virtually inextractable from any wound without causing serious more damage. So they knew that peritonitis was a thing, and that if it didn't get you now, it would get you later. So 3 or 4 days of agony, Martha Sherman eventually passes, but not before she's able to give the account of what happens. And that's how we know in this story actually what happened. And she tells the story of her top of her head being removed. Yeah, I think we can say that. Sorry, guys, if you're new to this, I have to keep working in YouTube's terms of service, so I'm not trying to explain this in the most infantile terms possible. I just kind of have to, So she tells everyone what happens. Obviously, Ezra is beside himself, and then simply she passes away, as does her baby, and they are buried at a nearby cemetery next to each other. Some say next to each other. There's no grave marker for the child, but we know that the child did not make it. So most people think that they're buried in the same grave, but it is. I had the location written down. It's right next to, I believe it's Groesbeck, Texas, but I might have that wrong. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. I got a lot of names and dates floating around as usual. Martha Sherman. But they're buried in the nearby cemetery, and Ezra is left to simply carry on his life. And this happened. I think this is certainly him moving out there without any firearms or any protection or really any escape plan is baffling even today. I think most people wouldn't move to Texas today without a firearm right now. So it's hard. There's no explanation left to his rationale for that. It's kind of one of those things in the annals of Texas history. It happened and then it's gone. That's it. And then it happened again and again and again. But we are, I guess, fortunate is the right word. Fortunate enough to have the account of the surviving Martha Sherman who went through the attack. So it's an example of the horrors that a Comanche attack brought. And everyone knew this wasn't the first time that something like this had happened. Everyone in the area was well aware that these practices, this raiding was a standard affair on the Texas frontier. It had been horrific through the 1850s, and it was only going to increase now as the Civil War pulled time and pulled resources, pulled money, pulled men away from the Texas frontier. It just left the frontier open, kind of like what had happened during the Texas Revolution. Because after the Alamo, the Texans or the Comanche and the Kiowa were going, they're vulnerable. The Texans and the Mexicans are both vulnerable. They're fighting over this territory, so no one's in control apparently. And they thought this is a chance to make a big move and take our homeland back. Similar with the Civil War, the raids just ramped up, and the level of violence went through the roof. And everyone knew that this was happening. So moving out to Stag Prairie in the middle of nowhere in the 1860s with no protection is just unbelievable. It'd be like moving to Pakistan or the Amazon today with nothing to protect yourself. Okay, Martha Sherman is buried in Willow Springs Cemetery in Willow Park, Texas, near the Parker County line. To check that real quick. But yeah, if you're in the area, go visit. I'd like to go visit sometime. Just a terrible, terrible tragedy. And I think what's important to understand is not just the tragedy. I'm not saying not just the tragedy, but it's not just that this happened. It's that it happened again and again and again and again over decades. And that's when it happened to the Texas and the Mexican and the Spanish settlers. It had happened in intertribal raiding for decades before that. So it's just to drive home the point how dangerous the American frontier, and certainly the Texas frontier was, because this happened all throughout America for many, many years. This was nothing particularly new. It's just that it was particularly ruthless and particularly frequent. And nobody really knew how to handle it, even in the 1860s. Really, there had been a real loss of knowledge. Like once Jack Hayes and the initial kind of iterations of Texas Rangers who had kind of solidified and codified these standard operating procedures about this is how you fight the Comanche and these are the weapons you use and et cetera, et cetera. Once they moved away, it was like the Rangers had to kind of start from scratch. All their institutional knowledge seems to have really waned for maybe a decade, where they were disbanded and reassembled and disbanded because the funding was a problem, the personnel actually getting enough guys was a problem. So for a decade or so, it was like, well, the Rangers are a thing, and now they're disbanded. And now we need more Rangers. Now we need less Rangers because we can't afford them. So it was kind of a mess after Hayes and his cohorts left. Took a long time to recover, and there wasn't a lot in the way of protection on the frontier at all. And it really seemed like the frontier had kind of regressed quite a bit during that time. So again, just driving home the point of, wow, you went out there with no protection of any kind. But we do need to understand that Ezra Sherman and the thousands like him were out in Texas because they simply couldn't afford the land back east. They had no shot of climbing a social or financial ladder or building any kind of generational stability for their family at all back east. So coming out here, as dangerous out here, I'm in Texas, but coming out to Texas, as dangerous as it was, many people viewed it as their only shot. They weren't out here on a vacation thinking like, oh, this is just the most fun thing ever. Though they were astounded by Texas's beauty more than people realize. Like Texas is a pretty state, and they would write about it in their journals a lot, right? So they thought this was a cool place, but it's also the only place that you can afford. So they were in many ways out here by necessity. All that said, it's like maybe spend a little bit less on the ranch and a little bit more on some kind of protection, but what are you going to do? And then Ezra Sherman and his children seem to, as far as I can tell, vanish from the record books. There's not a lot else on them that I was able to find. But I thought that would be a good story to tell, because it doesn't fit great into our episode format. Like saying Texas rancher versus Comanche warriors, Texas settler just never has worked super well. And it's kind of hard it's not literally two military contingents, but it works great for a live stream. And it's one that a lot of these stories here that we tell on the live stream are meant to complement the episode. So it helps to contextualize for everybody just how brutal it was. It wasn't all Rangers versus Comanche. This was horrific. Like things that you equivalent to what we would, I don't even know if I could say that, but equivalent to any of the most horrific news stories that you've seen, probably in most people's lifetimes here, or certainly in the last 25 years with the advent of the GWOT. I think I can say GWOT, GWOT, worldwide. Yeah, we've seen lots of scary videos and things depicting inhumane acts, but it's, I think, similar to what the Comanche would do, but probably not quite as brutal in many respects. Which is just to give you context for like, dude, this was a super, super dangerous place. So was Kentucky when people moved in there. So was Pennsylvania. So was West Virginia. So was Missouri, on and on. But Texas was a rough place. Especially being on the edge of the plains, it meant you were never going to catch your attacker. So it was for decades and decades a nightmare. And I'm always astounded by how anyone was able to survive, how any tribes were able to survive here in the first place, and that anyone would move out to this area and subject themselves to that danger in the second place. But yeah, if you've never heard the story of Sherman, of the Sherman Farm attack or massacre, certainly worth looking into Empire of the Summer Moon. It seems like a lot of you have this book, so it is in the War to the Knife chapter on page 158. Highly recommend it. And I'm going to try to extrapolate it a little bit more for an episode or something like that. But I thought it'd be a cool thing for a live stream because it's relatively quick story and they pack a lot of brutal into it, don't they? Okay. So I don't think I'm leaving anything out in the general summary of that. If anybody has any questions, comments, or anything, I'm checking the live chat now. Wow, good to see everybody. We got quite a few people here. Let's see. The Comanches were the whipping boys of all the other tribes until the Spaniards showed up with the horse, says Jack Prepper. Jack Prepper. The Comanche knew the horse was a game changer and kept them from the other tribes at first. Yeah, for a little while, but then they knew that they could make a lot of obviously not money like fiat money, but they could get rich by selling those horses. And they were the only tribe that really understood horse breeding, like breeding. I guess the Nez Perce did in a little different way, but the Comanche, yes, they exploded from being the bottom of the totem pole to the bottom of the ladder to the very top, not just militarily, but economically as well. And we talked about that yesterday, how they were kind of unintentional empire builders. Like they didn't set out to build an empire which covered 250,000 miles, but it just kind of resulted from their economic and military prowess. And you're absolutely right too. They had a massive chip on their shoulder. As honestly, it's pretty understandable if you've been kicked around for not decades but generations. A little chip on the shoulder is understandable towards your fellow tribes. I believe somebody had undiagnosed PTSD back then, says Space Cowboy. Yeah. I think there was a lot of it. And they would have understood that. They would just use different terminology and have different remedies for it, but they understood that. I live near where the Battle of Platte Ridge happened. Maybe we hear about that story one day. Kathy Brusaw. I don't think I know the Battle of Platte Ridge. Let me look at that real quick. Sounds relatively familiar, but Battle of Platte Ridge. Is that in? So that is in. I'm not even sure where it's at. Casper, Wyoming. Okay. Cool. We need to do some more Wyoming stories. I know the story of Casper, Wyoming, where it was it was a general's son named, his last name was Casper, I believe, and he got into a battle with the Cheyenne and took an arrow like literally right through the forehead. And I believe it was up in that area, and they named it after Casper. Question, says Space Cowboy. Scarier place to be, a pioneer settler moving out west back in the 1800s, or a regular dude living in Jackson, Mississippi in 2025? I would take Jackson, Mississippi. Though that always makes me think of Uneasy Rider, or Charlie Daniels. Like the last thing I wanted on a Saturday night was to get in a fight in Jackson, Mississippi on a Saturday night. And I ain't even got a garage. You can call home and ask my wife. Hail, chat, and HOKC says Elite Super Grunt. Hail, Elite Super Grunt. Good to see you, man. It's a morning stream, so we're letting the crew pile in here. John Jovi, I like that name. How many years did it take for them to rise from the bottom to the top? So I think you're talking about the Comanches' ascension from a hunter-gatherer tribe in the Northern Rockies to top of the pops in Texas. A couple generations, so not like literally overnight. And it wasn't like they got the horse and it was a day later they're running rampant over Texas. A couple generations, but I mean, in the totality of history, of their history, that is effectively the blink of an eye. I would equate it to the internet. So probably as soon as we got the internet, which really is in the 90s, um, but a little longer than that. No, I'm thinking, no, that's not good. I'm thinking 100 to 150 years, maybe 200 years. I take the settlers. It's safer. Hey, Pennsylvania Plowboy, y'all can give it a try out there. I'm not moving out to what was it, Pratt Prairie? I forget the name of the place, the exact prairie, but I'm not moving out to Parker County in 1860s. No way, man. I'm chilling. Where is your YouTube plaque? Don't they send you one for 100,000 subscribers? That should be proudly on display, brother. It is on display. I'll show you. It's behind me in all of our intro videos and all the episode videos, but yeah, they sent it to me. It needs a little bit of a cleaning, you know. It's pretty cool though. Not as heavy as you'd think, but it's nice. But yeah, if you look behind my shoulder in all the intro videos, I do squeeze it in there, but I guess it should be more prominent. I'm getting a like formal streaming space set up here in the other room, so I'll put it more prominently on display. Let's see. I live near the Battle of Platte Ridge. Oh, yeah, you got that. Yeah, we can do that. Kathy Brewer. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent for a second, but we can absolutely do that. Let's see. I don't think they scalped for punishment. It had more of a spiritual meaning to them, like they were taking someone's power or strength. Yeah, no, usually while the person was not unalived, wasn't super common. It was more of it was part war trophy, a way of kind of keeping records of your deeds. And they would put them on, they would put the trophies on shields, on spears. It was a way to show like what you had done. And then, yes, it says there's a spiritual component. I've never been able to discern that it's as heavy of a spiritual component for the Comanche as it would be for the Lakota, the Cheyenne, etc., because their theology wasn't quite as dense or developed, I guess even you could say. I don't know that their primary motivator was like metaphysical, but yeah, they did believe that in some way the body that you took into the afterlife was the one that you existed in the afterlife with. So any kind of posthumous damage done would result, like, so if your scalp was taken, you would walk around without a scalp in the afterlife and look like a real idiot. So yeah, it was a way to say like you're going to have to live with this forever. Let's see. Scalping, I'd understood universally. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty clear signal. I think there's a bit of contention on whether it was brought over to the tribes from the Spanish or the Dutch, and we've talked about that here before. I'd say it's a little bit of both, where they were practicing something like that, and then you meet another culture who's doing something similar, and if you're working for them in some military capacity, you are going to need proof of practice, right? So I think it proliferated a bit more with the arrival of the Dutch and the Spanish, but I would wager that it was always there in some capacity. Let's see. Certainly the taking of posthumous, I'm using analogies here, are very vague language on purpose, but the taking of posthumous war trophies was not new. I don't think it's unique to any culture. That's like a worldwide thing. You'll see it in Africa, Asia, Europe, the North America, South America. Bama 09 says hair removal would have been the lesser of punishments they would have inflicted on someone. That's a good, I like that term, man. Hair removal. I wish I'd thought of that before this stream. Nice term. Let's see, so I'm not the best with analogies sometimes, as y'all can clearly see by this point. But I get the point across. Let's see. Go Dogs, says Clint Eastwood. You mean Georgia Dogs? I'm from Florida State country, or Florida. I'm from Fresno State country, so they say that too, but usually it means Georgia. Pennsylvania Plowboy says hair removal makes it sound like they're using Nair. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, but it is a pretty genteel way to describe what happened. Let's see. I live near. Okay, got that. Any questions about the Sherman Ranch? About last night's topic on Cynthia Ann? We're going to do another one on Herman Lehman, and one we haven't talked about a lot is Adolf Korn, who was, man, that's a super wild story. He was taken similar to Herman Lehman. He's taken as a young boy, uh, 12, 13, no, 10 maybe, and then adopted into the tribe. Has a rough time, right? He's actually traded. He's taken by the Comanches and taken by the Apaches and traded to the Comanches. But within, I don't know if he's taken when he's 10, he becomes a warrior by his mid teens, and he's just digging it. Like he's a big, tall, aggressive kid, and he's just like, man, this is the best. And we talked about why last night, why a lot of Texan kids actually preferred life with the Comanche, especially the Comanche, because there was virtually no structure. A child in the Comanche was asked to do very, very little. They had almost complete autonomy. A child on the Texas farm in the 1830s, 40s, 50s, 60s would be loved by their parents, but they would be required to do chores all day long. They would get very little schooling. They would have very, very little in the way of clothing. Like they might have a jacket, they might have maybe two shirts, a pair of trousers. Shoes were a rarity. The food sucked. Like it was whatever they were able to. They're often sharecroppers, so it's like you don't even get to keep all of what you harvest. If you do, it's usually not very much. There's very little in the way of meat. It's usually like corn mush, maybe some molasses if you're lucky, maybe some salt pork, which is crazy salty. It sucks. It sucks. So when they are taken, they're not happy about being taken. But eventually, after they kind of get over their initial severe hazing period, they're kind of liking the autonomy of you got clothes, you got good clothes, you can eat whenever you want. There's always like this pot of boiling meat ready to go. Very little chores. Just it's a huge level of freedom and what's the word I'm looking for? Not wealth, but certainly autonomy. I know it's the same as freedom, but yeah, they're living their quality of life seems like it drastically increased. So they a lot of times did not want to go back, which was the case with Adolf Korn, and he was brought back and just never was having it. He lived in a cave outside of Mason, Texas, I believe. I have to look that location up, but lived in a cave until he eventually passed away. And he passed away at 41. And I can't find out exactly of what. He just lived in this cave and they say he passed away. And I always thought like, oh, must have been in his mid 60s when he passed away. Like, no, it was 40, 41. So not sure why, but he wanted no part of Anglo society for the rest of his life. He was not happy that he was brought back, and neither was Herman Lehman. Was not happy. I believe Dot Bab was not happy. A lot, especially the boys, they were just like, "This sucks, guys. I was just a warrior. I was out there living it up, having the time of my life, just running rampant over people and hunting, and now I got to wear this like suit and tie or whatever." Really, there's a picture of Herman Lehman with a suit and tie. And one of them, I believe, with like a suit and tie and a buffalo headdress. So they just like never came all the way back, I guess you'd say. And Herman Lehman used to go open the Mason or Blanco rodeo in like the 30s by they would let loose a couple beef calves in the arena, and Herman would get on his horse and do like a full live buffalo hump, bow, arrow, headdress, everything, and like get off once he unalived the calf, would get off and cut out its liver and eat the liver live. If you've ever seen Dances with Wolves, they do that, and it's I think people think of it like as a shock scene. It's like, no, that's absolutely accurate. They would go for the liver, the spleen first. If it was a calf, they would open the stomach cavity and then squeeze the bile from the gallbladder into the milk that was still in the stomach and make this kind of Comanche Plains yogurt. So that's what they went for first. It wasn't like cutting out steaks, or cutting out, back straps, whatever. So Herman would demonstrate that live, and the crowd just loved it. So it would be Imagine doing that today. If they're just like, welcome to the show, folks. Here's a couple calves, and this guy is going to unalive them right in front of you and then harvest their livers and eat that. Some of us would be like, awesome, that's pretty cool. Opening the show. But there would be some major pushback. But fascinating. Like, yeah, these guys were out there living it for real in the middle of nowhere. They were part of one of the greatest warrior tribes to ever exist. And then, like, a couple of years later, they're forced to put a suit back on. And, it just didn't jive for them. We've talked about just in this chat here an element of Old West PTSD. And I think that's wildly on display with those young men. Because imagine being pulled back and forth between worlds like that. It's wildly on display with Cynthia Ann Parker or Rachel Parker Plummer, who we discussed last night as well. Let's see. All right, scanning the chat. I think any tribe you were traded to seemed you treated better than the one who took you. Yeah, in general, sometimes they were just trying to get rid of a guy or just make not money. I keep saying money, but make a better deal in a trade for other things. Like, we'll trade you whatever, right? 3 horses and this kid for whatever else they wanted. Farm all day or become a warrior in one of the greatest light cavalries ever known. Seems like an easy choice, says Bama 8900. Yeah, I mean, the initial period and just the brutality of day-to-day life, I think, would blow a lot of people's mind. But yeah, it was probably a better quality of life in general than staying on the farm. It would also blow a lot of people's mind, like how hard they worked those kids, how isolated the farm family would have been at that time. Like, the only other people you would really know, the only kids you ever got to hang out with would be like your brothers and sisters, which is not uncommon in farm life today or ranch life today. But I mean, cut off. Listen to Empire of the Summer Moon in like, Mike Holt says, I listened to Empire of the Summer Moon in like a day and a half on audiobook. Yeah, when I first got it, I think I read the whole thing in 2 or 3 days, like pretty quickly. It's a great, the pacing on that book is fantastic. A lot of information, but you never really feel like you're going through this slog. Let's see. If you guys haven't read Empire of the Summer Moon by S.C. Gwynn, read that, says Clint Eastwood. Yes, that's where this story is pulled from. Couldn't recommend Empire of the Summer Moon enough. We'll do a stream where I like go over all the books, well, several of the books that I use. We got a lot of books, but a lot of people ask me like what books are the ones that I use or a book I would recommend. So we'll do a stream on the books. Your channel is awesome. Always fascinating talks about Texas. Traveled all these towns in Northeast Texas and south of San Antonio as a truck driver and DJ. Texas Vintage Depot. Oh, awesome, man. Thanks to all the truck drivers out there. My grandpa was a truck driver. That's people don't understand how important that job is. Without truck drivers, the whole place shuts down. And you were a DJ too, huh? I was a DJ too. That's how I got my start talking on microphones. Let's see. I think okay, got that. Making sure I'm just scanning through here. All right. Any other questions on the Sherman raid, on Cynthia Ann Parker, any of the topics we talked about yesterday? Any questions on today's episode? I think it'll be a good one. I think most people in here, like I've said, most people are members, so you'll have access to it already. If not, it'll be out 7 p.m. tonight. And I was thinking about, I want to get everybody to watch the episode, but it's possible to do another stream like late tonight, if that's something y'all are interested in. Great midday HOKC live, says Mike Holtz. Talk to y'all soon. Enjoy the day. You too, Mike Holtz. Don't work the kids too hard at practice. And if you have another match this week, maybe a tournament, best of luck to everybody. Y'all get after it. Tis the season. Empire of the Summer Moon, going to have to read it to catch up with the rest of the class here at HOKC University, says Terry R. Yeah, it's I think anybody who's interested in these topics, it's not only that you have to read it, I think you'll have a good time. Like, yeah, that's the topic. It's dark topics, but if you're interested in this, it's a relatively quick read and a great primer for all the other stuff that we talk about. S.C. Gwynn actually lives in Austin. He might work at UT, so he's in town. He does a good episode on the Joe Rogan Experience too from 5 years ago. Let's see. Joe Rogan, he's also in town too. I never had an Alex Jones or a Joe Rogan sighting, which I'm kind of bummed about. Let's see. I've never seen Willie either. Been out to his golf course. It's a nice golf course. All right, scan it. If anybody has any questions, comments. Oh, let me poll you guys. See you guys want. Do y'all? I'm gonna say the word y'all because we're in Texas. Do y'all want a live stream tonight after episode? If you guys do want a live stream, it'd probably be later, like 11 p.m. Eastern. It would be relatively late. But if you do, let me know because we can do one. Because I have fun doing these. I like doing them as much as we can. But I don't want to do one during the episode because that'll draw people away from the episode. Let's see. All right, I think I'm caught up on the chats. So yeah, any other questions, comments, throw them in now, and we'll wrap it up in 10, 15 minutes here. And then I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. Should write this stuff down, you know. There's an audiobook upload available on YouTube for Empire of the Summer Moon. Is there really? Okay. If it's illegally uploaded, I didn't tell you, right? But Space Cowboy is telling you guys that right now. Because Space Cowboy operates in a realm between law and lawlessness. Oh wow, NDPND. Sorry, that's a tough one. NDPNDTNT25 donates $20. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That's what drives the stream. And if you haven't already, make sure you click the like button. That helps us out a ton as well. NDNPNDNT25. If you have something you want to say, let me know. I'll get the word out for you. I'll be racked out. Have to get up at 0400, says Doc. Well, Doc, you got a crazy sleep schedule, man. No problem if you can't make it. Not a problem at all. And all the streams stay up. So if you guys can't make it, you can always go back and watch them. And then if you watch the stream and you're like, oh, I didn't get a chance to comment, not a problem. You can email me at historyattheokcorral@gmail.com. I've gotten a bunch of emails from y'all already, so keep sending them. I love to hear from you guys. I have a 40-minute drive this morning. I'll be listening to it. Dude, when I lived in Seguin and worked in Austin for a long time, it's about an hour commute, and I would listen to Empire of the Summer Moon all the time. What is it? Life, Wild and Perilous by Robert M. Utley. I had to look over and check the name. Great audiobook as well. And The Captured. If you like Texas history especially, I would start with Empire of the Summer Moon. And then I would move to The Captured, which is 1850s on, telling about Adolph Korn, Herman Lehman, Cynthia Ann Parker. Who am I missing here? Dot Bab, and a couple other captive kids. It's specifically about the kids who were captured. Not sure if it's abridged or not. It's a 40-minute long video. Oh, you're saying on YouTube, this Empire of the Summer Moon video? Yeah, the actual audiobook is, man, it might be 13, 14 hours, maybe a little bit more. But it goes quick. Going to watch the last few I've missed. Indian TNP. NDPNDNT25 says, I'm going to watch the last few I've missed. Thanks for the hard work. Yeah, man, absolutely. We've got some good episodes up, some good live streams up, and we'll have a bunch more in the coming several weeks and months. Let's see. I'm in the UK, so we'll have to catch up on the live too, but I'm looking forward to it, says Billy Bobry. No problem. That's why they stay up. And like I said, if you miss the live chat, you want to bring something to my attention or contribute something, just let me know. Or email me. Let's see. Got that. Just checking everybody's chat again. Okay, I got that. There's a lot of chats that roll in, guys, so it's not as easy to keep track of them as you would think. But yeah, so make sure you catch tonight's episode if you haven't watched it already. It'll be a good one. It comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And in general, we talked last night, we did a poll last night, and it seems most people want the live streams moved to 8 p.m. Eastern as well. So we're going to keep everything at 8 p.m. Eastern for release time. So it'll be a very consistent schedule for everyone. You can count on it just being 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for virtually everything. Now, that said, maybe not tonight because we have an episode coming out. So it'll be a little bit later. It seems like, wow, how many people have voted? 8 people voted, and we've got 88% say yes, they do want a live stream. But we have 21 people here even right now. So hop in there and let me know what you guys think. I'm more than willing to do it. I just want to make sure everybody's up for it. I love that people from outside America have such an interest in the Wild West. True. Yeah. And, we try to have a healthy interest in history outside of our country. But yeah, I mean, worldwide, people are particularly fascinated with American history. They're fascinated with Texas history. I saw a meme a couple days ago or a video of this girl saying, this is what you're treated like when you travel to Europe and you tell them you're from America. And they go like, oh, hey, good to meet you, whatever. And then she says, this is how they treat you when you tell them you're from Texas. And they sit down and they tell us all about Texas because it's such a wild place to them. Maybe not even fascinating in the good way, but they are fascinated by it. Let's see. Oh, it's definitely, okay, not the full bag. Let's see. Yeah, we've got a pretty international audience. We've got the Philippines, we've got Australia, we've got Germany, we've got the UK, we've got Britain, we've got England and Scotland. We need an Irish viewer in there somewhere. And all over the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America. So it's going international. Let's see. All right. I'm caught up on the chats. If anybody toss stuff in there, if you have anything else you want to ask or contribute. And let's see. Talked about what's coming up tonight. Talked about the next live stream. I'm not sure what the topic is going to be. Usually I kind of try to decide 12 hours ahead of time. So tonight's open. Anybody have any topic suggestions for tonight? Oh, and last night we got several very generous donations for our movie night. So Saturday, looks like we're going to be watching Paint Your Wagons. And then we'll figure it out. We got 2 movies on deck, though. We got The Searchers and Paint Your Wagon on deck. And our movie bid for the week keeps going. So that's what we've figured out a system where the first person to donate $50 during the week gets to pick their movie. Well, it's basically like a bidding system. So we're going to see who the highest bidder is on Friday, and they get to pick the movie for the week. Otherwise, we'll vote on it. But people seem to like that system. We've had people really want to pick the movie. So it's a good system we worked out last night. Blazing Saddles for a movie night. We'll put that on the list for sure. It's one of those where it's like, we're not showing the movie, so I guess we can get away with that. But you could certainly never make Blazing Saddles in 2025. But yeah, Blazing Saddles. And I got a bunch of other movies that are free on YouTube and a list too. So I want to keep them. I want to try to keep everything free on YouTube. All the movies that we watch free on YouTube, so everybody can just watch along. No times are tough out there. They're tough all around. So that way nobody has to spend any extra money. You don't have to rent the movie. We can just all watch along. I've watched it and read the book. It's a great story. Are you talking about which book? Which one are you talking about, Billy Bobry? Looking forward to Spaceballs 2. I heard that's coming out. It's going to be very interesting, says Space Cowboy. I bet you that draws some good viewership. People love to go see Spaceballs 2. Oh, Hostiles. But maybe I didn't see that earlier, Billy Bobry. So sorry about that. Yeah, Hostiles is on the. I don't think that's free on YouTube, but sorry, we gotta put that on the list. I was thinking about maybe even just watching clips from certain movies so that I can put the link for the clip in the chat and everybody can watch along. A 5, 10, 15-minute clip. But that might be an option as well that even we can toss in midweek. Because I love doing the movie nights, and we're going to keep doing that. But certainly they could be a 2 or 3 hour movie. So just showing you guys specific parts might be a good way to bridge that gap between regular nights and movie nights. Hope it's better than History of the World Part 2. I didn't know there was a History of the World Part 2. I was born just after like the heyday of Monty Python and even like movies like Spaceballs and everything. They're just a little, I've seen them, but they're just a little before my time. The Homesman with Tommy Lee Jones. I haven't seen The Homesman. Okay, I'll put that on the list. We've got The Taken with Tommy Lee Jones. It's The Taken, right? But early 2000s, Tommy Lee Jones and, gosh, what's that lady's name? It's escaping me now. That's a really good movie. Let's see. What's it called? The Homesman. Okay. So The Taken we'll also have to put on the movie list. It is on the movie list, I should say. Let's see. The Homesman came out a few years ago. Okay, got that down. That is San Saba, Texas's own Tommy Lee Jones. Harvard grad, I believe. Yeah, it came out a few years ago. Though nothing against old Tommy, right? Tommy's my boy, but I don't know. Ivy League degree means a lot less than it used to, right? Said about Bama, said about son, you missed the chat and you've confused it with my choice of movie. Okay, yeah, but I think there's been some confusion amongst our conversation in the chat. I would say everybody be patient with each other because it's hard. Trust me, it's hard to keep track of chats when they're going live. Space Cowboy says, Annie, Get Your Pew Pew is a great Western musical. Man, okay, so musicals are tough for me. I'm going to put it on the list, but musicals can sometimes be tough for me because it's just like we're having a normal conversation. Imagine that happened in real life. You know what I mean? We're having a normal conversation, and then you just start singing. I don't know. I'd be weirded out by it. One movie I'll tell you, we're not watching, The Wizard of Oz. I'm not having it, folks. Freaks me out. It's evil. I don't like it. Lots of weird lore happened around there. If you like it, totally understand. I think you should be on a watch list of some kind, but that's your right. But we're not watching it here. That movie is messed up. Paint Your Wagon is free. We're doing Paint Your Wagon on Saturday. And it's like, I think it's our longest movie we've done yet. So buckle up. Thanks again, though, to Nick Sweeney, who I do not see in the chat today, but he came in with very generous donation super chats last night and picked 2 movies. So The Wizard of Oz, says Space Cowboy. We're not having it, Space Cowboy. We got to keep this a Wizard of Oz free zone. It's creepy from tip to tail, man. Blazing Saddles wins, says Elite Super Grunt. It's on the list. It's on the list. You're the Elite Super Grunt. You're the one that made me set up the whole bidding operation. So if we get a top bidder next week, they can pick Blazing Saddles. Elite Super Grunt designed the whole bidding operation in real time last night. It was impressive. Paint Your Wagons is classified as a musical now. Is it? Man, I haven't seen it since I was like 5 years old. So it very well might be. But you know what? Nick Sweeney asked for it and he chipped in the super chat. So I like musicals now. No, but we'll watch it. And honestly, I liked Sweeney Todd. There's other ones that I have liked. But in general, I'm kind of just like, can't you just talk to me? Why are you singing right now? Doc Will says, we need to watch The Alamo 2004. I believe, dude, I'm going to write that down, but I'm pretty sure that I already have that on my free movie list. I'll have to check that again. John Wayne's Alamo is free on YouTube? Because I agree with you. Yes, I think that's an underserved movie, the Alamo from 2004. So yeah, we need to watch it because I think it's pretty good. I don't know if it's free. Let me see. Alamo 2004. The Alamo from John Wayne's Alamo is free. And I'm not seeing the Alamo 2004 on here. That's a shame. Doesn't mean we can't use it though. Because it'd be available on, it is on here, but it's buy or rent. Okay, so it'd be $3 or $4 for everybody to rent it, but that doesn't. I think we should still keep it on the list. I watch a couple of other movie review channels, and the chat usually picks the movie through a bidding war. Oh, Elite Supergrunt says, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that, man. I watch a fair number of movie reviews as for the History Channel as well, because you know what I mean? You kind of like have somebody sum it up for you, and then you go watch it, and it's a lot easier to digest the first time through. That's a good idea, though. War Wagon was good. That's on the list, Troy, but I forget. Maybe you had me put it on the list before, but I forget what it's about. I'm sure it's about a war wagon, obviously. Can you tell me what it's about, though, Troy, was going to be my question. The Sun on AMC focuses on a Texas settler captured by the Comanche. Really? I've never heard of this, Bama 8900. The Sun. But you have to have an AMC subscription or something? But that's fine. We'll figure that out. I have honestly never heard of that, so I'm glad that exists. Billy Bobry says, Clint Eastwood sings he sings in Paint Your Wagon. I remember this now. Okay. But Clint's a pretty good singer. He has like an album or something out from the 70s. I could see Clint having a good singing voice. He has a rough, like, talking voice, but I could see it. I could see it. Let's see. I think we talked about Richard Harris playing somebody in a movie yesterday. And that just brings to mind that Richard Harris won a Grammy for his recording of MacArthur Park, which is kind of like spoken word. It's okay, but Waylon Jennings' version is way better. Go check out Waylon's version of MacArthur Park. John Wayne and Michael Douglas. Oh, okay. War Wagon is where they hold up I don't think I've heard of that, man. Okay, all right. War Wagon, cool. I'm not as up to date on my movies as I should be anyways. I got some kind of ADD or whatever they call it. I can't concentrate more than I don't know. My wrestling coach said I had the attention span of a midget. I don't really know what that means, but it makes sense. Bama Deanna, we've been wondering where you're at. Good to see you. Good to see you. Bama Deanna is a cornerstone of this chat. Elite Supergrunt, The Sun, and The First Son of Texas is the same show. The premiere episode was called The First Son of Texas, and the rest of the series is called The Sun. Well, like what year is this from? Is this recent? You'd think I would have heard about this. I've got it written down now. So we've got The Sun and The First Son of Texas. Bama Deanna says, just woke up. Hey, me and you are in the same boat, Bama Deanna. I don't have an attention span, says Space Cowboy. You and me are I feel your struggle, Space Cowboy. And you know what? This is apropos of nothing, but I was wanting to do this. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna post a cool little video in the chat for y'all. I think you'll enjoy it today. If I can find it. Yes, there we go. So check this out. We talked about this a stream or two ago. This is no mount cave diving in Wisconsin. Apropos of nothing, but I think you guys will. It'll thoroughly freak you out. So check it out sometime today. My IQ test came back negative, says Bama Deanna. Well, that's one less problem, right? You don't have an IQ, nothing to worry about. That's what you want on most tests, right? Negative for flu, negative for the C word, negative for like the 2020 C word. You know, you want tests to come back negative. So good. You're good. You're nice and healthy. Let's see. Pierce Brosnan stars in the Sun. Huh. Okay, man. I think I would have seen this, but that is not jogging anything in the old, what would you call that? Mind brain? Came out in 2017. Man, I've never even heard of this, so I'm gonna go check that out when we're done here. And you know what? That might be a good time. We're gonna we got to wrap it up in a minute here, but at least tonight. Wow, we got 93% of you want to stream tonight. All right, and like I said, it might be a little later, so we're talking like 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if that's cool with you guys, I'll put it up. And no pressure. If you want to be there, cool. Come on. We want as many people as we can, but it'll be a little later, so just fair warning. But that's cool. It'll be like party time. But Yeah, during this stream tonight, maybe we can do some clips if I can find them from the sun and the first son of Texas, so everybody can, get a little glimpse into it. 'Cause that's interesting. Never heard of that. Let's see. Who is the rat who voted no? Oh, in the chat. Somebody's got to go to bed, I imagine. Maybe it's Doc because he's got to go to bed and get up at 4 a.m. We can't harsh anybody that's got to get up at 4 a.m. I'd rather get up at 4 though than 6. I hate getting up at 6. I'll get up at 5. I'll get up at 4. I'll get up at 7. But I hate getting up at 6 more than anything in the world. Anywhere from 6 to 7, I hate getting up during that time. I don't know why. It's just a conviction of mine. All right, scanning through the chat here. War Wagon was good, says Troy. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. I've never heard of that one either. John Wayne and Michael Douglas. I saw the whole series of Son of Texas and the Sun. Really, Bam? That seems like that'd be right up your alley, though. I have not. I've not even heard of it. So I tell you what, tonight we'll play some clips from it and dive into that a little bit. No, I didn't vote, says Doc. Well, Doc, you didn't vote. That's your civil right. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, Doc. But even if you voted no, I totally get it, having to get up at 0400. Though I gotta tell you, as a civilian, everything makes sense on, I guess it's military time until after 12. Then I'm lost. I'm like, oh, 0600, totally, I get it. 0700, whatever, I get it. Once you start getting into 1400, because I get it, 1300 is one north of 12. So okay, but once you're saying like I'll be there at 1600, I'm like, gotta think a little bit. Oh, okay. War Wagon is with Kirk Douglas. Okay, my bad. I might have read that wrong up in the chat anyways. You know how I am, Armenian Bishop. Sometimes I'll miss a little something in the chat. Oh, you didn't say Mike's dead. Kirk Douglas, Mike's dad. Okay, I thought that was a little confusing. I was like, well, Kirk Douglas wasn't passed away at the time. Okay, I gotcha. Sorry. Elite Super Grunt says just subtract 12 and you will get the time. But I know that's why I'm going like this, because I'm subtracting 12 from it in my struggling civilian brain here. But yes, that makes total sense. I think you just get used to it and you can do it instantly. And I never had to do it. So I have to go, okay. I figure it out though. Let's see. I think I'm caught up on the chat. War Wagon is okay, but not on your favorites list, says Armenian Bishop. Yeah, I'd never even heard of it. It's worth checking out, though. Now we got I got a big long list of movies that are free on YouTube. Oh man, I got a bunch of stuff open in my Google Docs, or I'd pull it up right now. Ooh, where did that list go? Well, that means we've been doing a lot of work, so that's good. Okay, here we go. Free list. We've got The Cowboys. We've got Gladiator. We got Full Metal Jacket. We've got The Quick and the Unalived, if you know what I mean. We've got, trying to look at the more famous ones. Big Jake, The Horse Soldiers, which is a movie about the special forces in Afghanistan. Quigley Down Under, The Hatfields and McCoys with Kevin Costner. Open Range, also with Kevin Costner. I've got The Homesman on the list. Okay, so The Homesman is free. Gangs of New York, and they're not all. The Searchers is also free. And then Almost Heroes, which is a comedy, but I think it's really good. Rio Lobo, I don't know if that's free, but I mean, any John Wayne movie we can put on the list. Rio Lobo. It is free with ads on YouTube. Cool. A lot of the older ones we can probably find for free on YouTube. Space Cowboy, interesting you say this. We should do a marathon where we watch every Western movie that has ever been made. I don't know. We can't do that in one day, but I'm thinking about doing like a Christmas time marathon where, we'll just do like a stream for whatever, man. We'll do a stream for 8 hours. It may be 5 hours. It may be 2 hours, but we'll just go and go and go. Like we'll just do a long stream where everybody can come hang out. If you're traveling or with your family or something, you need a break. Yeah, we'll do a long stream. So I'm thinking that All right. Seems like everybody wants a live stream tonight, so we're gonna stop that. I like picking your guys' brain though. So, would you like a marathon live stream over the holidays? See what y'all think. And we're talking like 3 hours plus, and it might be 8 hours, it might be 12 plus. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll try something crazy. Because there's other channels, not history channels, but there's other channels that do that. A lot of streamers go for, I don't know, man, 8, 12 hours. But however long is fun for everybody. You know what I mean? And that won't be a regular. It would be like a holiday special thing. Also, Pluto TV has a couple great Western channels. Pluto TV is awesome. If anyone in the chat doesn't know about Pluto TV, highly recommend looking into it. Maybe we can get a sponsorship, huh? Space Cowboy says. But yes, apparently, if you haven't looked into Pluto TV, this is not an official endorsement, but it is an official Space Cowboy endorsement, and he's a trustworthy member of this chat. So check out Pluto TV if you haven't, and I'll look into it after the stream here. Well, people are liking the marathon stream idea. Okay. And yeah, as I was saying from last night, our normal time now is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to release episodes at that time in general, right? Sometimes the things are subject to emergencies and to changing, but in general, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's when the episode's out tonight. But keep in mind, all that said, there's always exceptions. So tonight will be a little bit later stream. I'll post exactly when I'll be able to get up there. But I don't think the episode is done until 10 p.m. my time. So like I said, we're looking for around 11 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see. I know I just kind of threw that random cave diving link in there, but go check it out, guys. It's so crazy. I'm just going to sit around and play Red Dead for the holidays, says Doc Will. You play Red Dead too, Doc Will? I've been watching a bunch of like gameplay on YouTube and a bunch of like game lore from Red Dead and Red Dead 2. It's so cool. I'm so glad you guys like pushed me to go check it out. I've had a lot of friends obviously talk to me about it. No, it's cool, but you know what I mean? What do those guys know? But the chat told me to go check it out. So it is super cool. It's such a cool design, super cool story. We always talk about how important it is to have conduits for history, to something that's going to break open the door for people to actually become interested in history. I think that does a great job of that. So I'm thinking of watching along to some gameplay. We talked about this last night, but watching some gameplay during the live stream so everybody can actually see what it looks like, and we'll go over some of the lore. And then, yeah, I want to play it. It looks pretty cool. It looks really cool. I didn't know you played Red Dead 2, Doc. That's cool. Let's see. We have, oh, guys, wow. 91% want a marathon stream over the holidays. Cool. All right. I'd be super down for that. Doc, well, you've played Red Dead 2 since the beta version. Wow, man. So that's like what? 15, 16 years? Somewhere in there? It's so, I was expecting it to be pretty cool. It is awesome. It is like Grand Theft Auto in a Western setting, but there's way more like lore and story and characters that you interact with. It's so good. That's, in my humble opinion, the best video game I've ever seen. Freaking Xbox still hasn't gotten the RDR1 update. Because, okay, and this is if you don't know anything about RDR or Red Dead Redemption, RDR1, it's like Star Wars, right? Like there's RDR1 and then there's RDR2, but RDR2 is actually the prequel to the first game. And so you're saying if I want to play it, don't get an Xbox? What would I need? Like, what's the best way to play it? PC or PlayStation? Or those are the only two other options I know, to be honest with you. Either way, though, that's going to be our next, or one of our next, what do we call that? To-do lists. One of our next action items. That's what I was looking for. Yes, Pennsylvania Plowboy says I played the first one. Seems like most people are big fans of it. You played it on PC. Okay, so I can play it on PC. Okay. Your PC. Okay, great. So I've got that. So I can just download it. I get man, so out of the loop on this, but yeah, I got to download it and then I can play it from there. Red Dead 2 is amazing. Just watch the animals interact. Yeah, I've been watching gameplay from both. It's like, whoa, this is so good. As a kid, I would watch my friends play GTA for hours, but you're like, okay, after 5 minutes, you're like, I get the point. I get what we're doing here. But Red Dead is like, there's a whole story involved here. Doc Will says you play on PS5. Okay. But if I don't have a PS5, I can play on the PC. So that's good. All right. The game is probably still on 50%. Oh, cool. Okay. Let me look into it. I don't know if I'll have time today, but if not today, tomorrow. Okay, so I need a controller to play it with a PC. I'll look all this stuff up when we get done. I'm just kind of getting a feel for what I need. Red Dead Revolver was the first, I believe. There was a game before Red Dead Redemption. I'll go. I haven't like actually read. I've watched like a bunch of videos kind of breaking it down. So I need to go read some more of the actual game's history. And if you're not a video game person, which I'm not by nature, but I think you got to really understand that moving forward, just from here on out, this is how the door is going to be broke open for especially young people. You're going to have a game that they can play and identify with that then sparks their interest in this subject. So Medal of Honor, I know Medal of Honor is kind of having trouble, but these games like that would spark interest in World War II, World War I, the Old West, anything like that. To get that door cracked open, you're going to need a good video game now. We might need like an HOKC video game, something like that. Let's see. All right, I think we're caught up. Like I said, it seemed like everybody wanted the live stream tonight, so we'll come back for that. Everybody's down for the marathon live stream. Cool, so we'll plan that. Like I've said a couple of times, not to, I think I can say the word pimp on here, but not to pimp it too hard. But if you are here, make sure you click the like button, share this with a friend. We're trying to get it out there to as many people as we can. That really, really helps us out. Yeah, like, share. It's not just a tag word. It really, really helps the algorithm push us out there. So yeah, definitely do that for us. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for showing up too. Thank everybody that's made their way in here. Oh yeah, these are coming soon. I just got the final details ironed out. So we'll have the store. We have the coffee mug set up. Some really cool T-shirts coming. We got the shine on that, but excellent coffee mug. I've said it a couple times. Feels great in your hands. Keep my coffee very hot because it's such a thick, substantive mug. No, yeah, actually, I forgot to take a drink. HOKC the movie, says Space Cowboy. Hey, man, if Tyler Sheridan ever wants to talk, let me know. The creator of MOH is the lead for Battlefield 6. Oh, really? Yeah, that'd be a fun industry to work in because it's like you get to make movies that people get to play now. There's stories and characters and everything involved. It behooves them to be as historically accurate as you can. So they bring in real historians and go over this stuff. It's like I said, a great conduit for kids to get interested in history. Okay, so that said, I am going to get back to the grindstone. I'm sure most of you are going to get back to the grindstone. If you have not seen today's episode, if you're a member, it's already up and waiting for you. If you aren't, it'll be ready for you. It'll be available at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So check that out. It's a pretty long one. Then once that's done, come on back. We'll have another live chat this evening. We'll hang out. And plenty more stuff coming this week. Plenty more stuff coming. A ton of stuff coming in the next month. And yeah, thank you all again for all y'all's support. Can't thank you enough. We got one final one from Space Cowboy. I can't tell if there's mold on my blueberry bagels or if it's normal discoloration. If you have to wonder, it's mold. The mug looks so cool. Not sure what the shipping cost will be to the UK. We'll figure it out. I haven't looked into that yet, but we can figure something out. I want it to be, it's going to be reasonably priced and available to everybody. So it's just cool stuff. Like it's all great quality stuff. I think you guys will. I wouldn't put it out if I didn't think y'all wouldn't find it cool. So I'm looking forward to getting it up there and out to y'all. So stay tuned for that. It's coming very, very soon, hopefully in the next week. Other than that, yeah, go check out the episode. If you've missed some live streams, go check that out. And then we'll be back tonight after the live stream. I'll post the official announcement and the video for that here in a little bit. And other than that, so what time tonight, says Space Cowboy? I'm guessing like 11 Eastern time. So if you can make it, come on out. If you cannot make it, no hard feelings. But we'll be there tonight. You can email us one, says Bama Deanna. Email us. You mean a mug? I don't think I can email the mug. I can email a picture of the mug, but it won't hold any coffee. Is that what you mean, Bama Deanna? Don't want to cut Bama Deanna off before we get out of here. But yeah, like I said, Space Cowboy, everybody else, be a relatively late stream. I'm a late person, so that's cool for me. Bama Deanna says, email us a mug. If I could, I would. Trust me. It'd be a lot easier on both ends, but until that technology exists, this one's a pretty cool alternative. Space Cowboy, our episode, the top 10 deadliest battles, most brutal battles in the Old West, is out at 8 p.m. But the stream will be after that. And it's a 3-hour episode, so it's going to be that would be for me. It would still be 11 p.m. Eastern, basically. So it's a late one, but we'll make it a good time. Elite Super Grunt says he's taking off. Good to see y'all. I got to take off too. So thank y'all again so much for coming, hanging out. Check out the episode. Be back for the live stream. Lots of stuff coming your way. Again, thank you all so much for all y'all support. It is life-changing. So I can't thank y'all enough. And we'll see you tonight. God bless. Have a good day. Bye.